Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're taking a swing at the world of professional tennis and the pretty remarkable career of Aryna Sabalenka.
Oh, yeah. She's something special, isn't she?
Definitely someone to watch. I mean, she's top ranked now, but she really didn't have that, typical tennis prodigy kind of start, you know?
Right, right.
So we've got a whole bunch of stuff to get into today. Articles and interviews and match data even.
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited to kind of unravel how she got to where she is and what makes her style so unique. I mean, some people love it, some people hate it, but it's definitely unique.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Controversial, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And then, of course, how she handled, being Belarusian and competing during all the political stuff happening.
Yeah, that was a tough time for a lot of athletes, I think, especially, someone like her trying to make a name for herself.
Right, exactly. So much pressure. So all that is to say, this deep dive is really about resilience and passion and, how to achieve success even when things get really complicated.
Totally. And especially for anyone listening who's interested in how, just pure individual drive can really push you to the top, even when it seems like everything's against you.
All right, so let's start with this question, I guess, setting the stage here. How common is it for a player like Sabalenka to reach the top when she didn't start playing tennis seriously until, her teens?
Yeah, she was a late bloomer for sure. I mean, most of these top players are on the court, basically before they can even walk,
Yeah, practically born with a racket in hand.
Right. But that late start for her, I think it might have actually been an advantage, It made her develop this fierce determination and a totally different approach to the game than you see with those traditionally trained players.
Yeah, I've seen clips of her playing, and fierce is definitely the right word. I mean, She just brings this raw intensity to every match. And I think that really shows in her style, which is incredibly aggressive.
Oh, yeah. It's like she's just unleashing this force of nature on everyone.
That's a good way to put it. And speaking of force, she's really all about power, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, her grunt is legendary.
Yeah, seriously, like a war cry.
And it's not just for show. I mean, that's her pouring every ounce of energy into those ground strokes. When it works, it's like watching a human cannon. I mean, opponents can barely even react.
But I imagine there's got to be a downside to relying so heavily on power. What happens when those shots don't land?
Well, yeah, that's the double-edged sword, right? In those early years especially, the unforced errors were piling up. I mean, critics were all over her saying she was inconsistent, saying she'd never be able to control that power and turn it into something more strategic,
Yeah, there were definitely some matches where it felt like she was just trying to hit every single ball for a winner. Just brute force it.
Right, and that doesn't always work, obviously.
So does that even work long term? Is that a sustainable way to play?
Yeah.
Have other players with that kind of power-heavy style manage to, find that balance and stay dominant?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, some of the greats have built careers on power, but they usually have to adapt as they get older. Think Serena Williams, right? Started out with that huge serve and incredible ground strokes. But over time, she brought in more strategy, more finesse. It'll be interesting to see how Sabalenka evolves, especially as, the wear and tear starts to add up.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Sabalenka really had to go through a trial by fire to learn how to control that power and prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
So how did she make that transition? How did she go from raw power to something more calculated?
Well, her breakthrough year was really 2018. That's when we saw a major shift. Take her serve, for example. Her accuracy went way up. And she started playing points more strategically instead of just trying to overpower everyone on every shot.
So smarter, not just harder.
Exactly. And that's where the mental side of things comes in, which is honestly another fascinating part of her story.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that because in the beginning, she was kind of known for those on-court meltdowns, right?
Oh, yeah. Early on, the pressure definitely got to her. I mean, there were some pretty epic outbursts.
Yeah, but then she really turned it around. How did she do that?
Well, she's been super open about her struggles, the self-doubt, the pressure to perform consistently. She's talked about working with a sports psychologist and doing meditation and even having these pre-match rituals to help her focus.
So she basically went on this journey of self-discovery, figuring out how to channel all that emotional energy into something positive.
Exactly. And it clearly worked because her game just kept getting better and better.
All right, so let's dig into that a little more. What kind of specific strategies do you think she might have used to get mentally tougher? Because tennis is brutal, right? It's as much a mental battle as a physical one.
Oh, totally. And someone like Sabalenka at that level, they're probably using a whole bunch of techniques. Visualization is huge. Mentally rehearsing the match, picturing yourself, making every shot, staying calm under pressure. And then mindfulness practices like meditation can help you stay in the moment and not get lost in all the anxieties about the past or the future.
So she's building a mental toolkit, basically, to handle all the craziness that comes with being a pro tennis player.
Exactly. And that toolkit is what helped her deal with probably the toughest challenge of her career, the political situation in Belarus back in 2022.
Right, because that was a lot to deal with. I mean, competing under the Belarusian flag during all that turmoil, it must have been incredibly stressful.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was a time of intense scrutiny for Belarusian athletes, and there was a lot of pressure on them to take a stand politically. The IOC even banned Belarusian government officials from the Tokyo Olympics.
Yeah, and then at Wimbledon in 2022, she had to compete under a neutral flag.
Right.
Right.
Right along with the other athletes from Belarus, it was a constant reminder of what was going on back home, this really complex situation with no easy answers.
So how did she handle that? Did she speak out publicly or did she stay quiet?
Well, she chose to focus on her tennis and avoid making political statements.
Which I imagine was a really tough decision.
Yeah, definitely. And it drew mixed reactions. Some people praised her for keeping politics out of sports, but others criticized her for not using her platform to speak out against what the government was doing.
Such a tricky situation, right? I mean, on one hand, you have this huge platform and a chance to make your voice heard. But on the other hand, there's all this pressure to just focus on your sport and the potential backlash from taking any kind of stance.
Absolutely. It really highlights how difficult it is for athletes to separate themselves from politics, especially on a global stage.
It sounds like she was competing under this, cloud of uncertainty and scrutiny. Yeah. Did all of that affect how she played, do you think?
It's hard to say for sure, but there were definitely times when she seemed to be struggling, Some unexpected losses, her emotions were running high during matches. But what's amazing is that she never let all that stuff completely derail her.
She just kept going, even with all that pressure. It's pretty inspiring.
It really speaks to her mental toughness. And ultimately, that focus and determination is what led her to her biggest achievement, winning the Australian Open in 2023.
Now that is a moment worth celebrating. Talk about a validation of all her hard work and talent and everything she'd overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Winning a Grand Slam is like the pinnacle of tennis, and it's something she'd been working towards for so long.
Oh, yeah. It was huge. Not just for her, but for everyone who'd been following her journey. It silenced that. The critics proved that her power game could win on the biggest stage and cemented her place among the best players in the world.
So did that win, boost her confidence even more? Did we see her game go to another level after that?
Oh, totally. It was like something clicked. Her ranking shot up. She started winning tournament after tournament, and her game became so much more consistent. It was like the self-doubt just vanished, and she was playing with this quiet confidence, this belief in herself that maybe hadn't been there before.
Like winning that Grand Slam was the final piece of the puzzle, the proof she needed that she belonged at the top. But I'm curious what happens next. I mean, once you reach the summit, how do you stay there? Winning a Grand Slam must come with a whole new set of challenges.
Oh, for sure. You're the one everyone's trying to beat now. They study your game, they look for weaknesses, and the pressure to keep winning, to hold on to that top ranking can be immense. Plus, there's always the risk of becoming complacent, losing that hunger that got you there in the first place.
So how has Sabalenka handled all of that? Has she been able to avoid those pitfalls that can trap players after a big breakthrough?
Well, that's where her resilience and her ability to learn from both wins and losses really shines. She's had some tough matches since the Australian Open matches where she didn't play her best, or the pressure seemed to get to her. But what's impressive is how she bounces back. She doesn't dwell on the losses, she analyzes them, she figures out what she needs to work on, and she comes back even stronger.
It sounds like she's adopted this, growth mindset, embracing the challenges and seeing every match as an opportunity to learn and improve.
Exactly. And that's what separates the truly great athletes from the rest. It's not just talent or physical ability, it's mental fortitude. It's unwavering belief in yourself, and it's the constant pursuit of improvement. Sabalenka embodies all of that, and that's why she's such a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, this unique style that we keep talking about, the raw power, the aggression, it's definitely drawn its fair share of criticism. Some people say it's unsustainable, that she'll need to change her approach as she gets older. What do you think about that? Will we see a more strategic, less power-focused Sabalenka in the future?
That's a question that's got everyone talking. you know? There are definitely people who think she needs to develop a more well-rounded game, incorporate more variety, more finesse into her shots. They worry about the physical toll that her aggressive style takes on her body, and they argue that she'll need to adapt if she wants to have a long career.
So are we expecting a complete transformation, like from power hitter to finesse player? It's hard to imagine Sabalenka abandoning the style that's brought her so much success.
I don't think it'll be a complete overhaul, but more like a refinement, you know?
Yeah.
Adding more tools to her arsenal. She's already shown that she can adapt. Remember how she improved her serve accuracy and started mixing up her shots back in 2018? I think we'll see a similar evolution in the coming years. She might incorporate more spin work on her net game, develop a more strategic approach to shot selection.
So evolution, not revolution.
Got it.
She'll still be the powerhouse we know, but with added layers of sophistication and strategy.
Exactly. And that's what makes her so exciting to watch. We're seeing a player at the top of her game, but who's still growing, still pushing her own boundaries. And that's what makes her story so compelling. It's a story of growth resilience and the constant pursuit of excellence.
And speaking of compelling, we haven't even touched on her impact off the court.
Yeah.
I mean, she's become a role model for so many young athletes and fans around the world, inspiring them with her power, her authenticity, her determination.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Sabalenka's influence goes way beyond just wins and losses. She's become this symbol of perseverance, of defying expectations, and embracing who you are even when it makes you different. She's shown that success isn't just about talent, it's about hard work, dedication, and believing in yourself.
Her story resonates with people from all walks of life because it's a human story. It's about overcoming obstacles, facing your fears, and chasing your dreams, no matter how hard it gets.
And it's about embracing the whole journey, you know, the ups and the downs, the triumphs and the setbacks. Sabalenka's story reminds us that it's not just about the destination, it's about everything you learn and experience along the way.
So now that we've explored her journey, her playing style, her mental toughness, and her impact beyond tennis, I'm curious what stands out to you the most about Sabalenka's story. What parts resonate with you personally? And maybe even more importantly, what can we as listeners learn from her incredible journey? Let's take a minute to think about those questions as we head into the next part of our deep dive. It's tough to imagine having to make that kind of choice, you know, to speak up or to stay silent when so much is at stake.
Oh, yeah. It was a no-win situation, really. And it really shows you just how much pressure these athletes are under to navigate these really complex political issues, especially when they're on the world stage like that.
It's a lot to handle.
Yeah.
So she was competing under this cloud of controversy and uncertainty. Did that affect her performance at all?
You know, it's hard to say for sure, but you could definitely see the pressure getting to her sometimes. There were some surprising losses, and she was definitely more emotional on the court. But what's incredible is that she never let it completely break her.
She just kept fighting, even with all that going on.
Yeah.
That takes serious mental strength.
Absolutely. And in the end, that focus and determination led her to her biggest victory yet, winning the Australian Open in 2023.
Now that is something to celebrate. Talk about a validation of everything she'd worked for and overcome. Winning a Grand Slam is the ultimate achievement in tennis, and it's something she'd clearly been dreaming of for years.
It was a huge moment, not just for her, but for everyone who'd been following her journey. You know, it silenced all the doubters, proved that her power game could win at the highest level, and it cemented her place as one of best in the world.
I bet that win gave her a huge confidence boost. Did we see her game go to another level after that?
Absolutely. It was like a switch flipped. Her rankings skyrocketed. She went on this amazing winning streak, and her consistency just went through the roof. It was like all the self-doubt just disappeared, and she was playing with this newfound confidence, this belief in herself that maybe hadn't been there before.
Winning a Grand Slam must be like the ultimate validation, you know? Proof that you belong at the top. But then what? Once you reach the peak, how do you stay there? I imagine there's a whole new set of challenges that come with that kind of success.
Oh, totally. Suddenly you're the target. Everyone's studying your game looking for weaknesses. And the pressure to maintain that top ranking to keep winning can be immense. Plus, there's always the risk of getting complacent, you know? Losing that hunger that got you there in the first place.
Right. So how has Sabalenka dealt with all of that? Has she been able to avoid those traps that can sometimes catch players after a big breakthrough?
Well, that's where her resilience and her ability to learn from every experience really come into play. She's definitely had some tough losses since winning the Australian Open matches where she didn't play her best or the pressure seemed to get to her. But what's impressive is how she bounces back from those setbacks. She doesn't let them get her down. She analyzes what went wrong, figures out what she needs to improve, and then comes back stronger than ever.
So she's really embraced this idea of constant growth and learning. You know, using every match, whether she wins or loses, as an opportunity to get better.
Exactly. And that's what separates the truly great athletes from everyone else. It's not just about talent or physical ability. It's about mental toughness, unwavering belief in yourself, and constantly striving to improve. Sabalenka embodies all of those things, and that's what makes her such a dominant force on the court.
We've talked a lot about her unique style, the raw power,
Yeah.
the aggressive play. And it's definitely been controversial, with some people saying it's not sustainable and that she'll need to change her approach as she gets older. What are your thoughts on that? Will we see a more strategic, less power-based Sabalenka in the future?
It's a question a lot of people are asking. There are definitely those who believe she needs to develop a more well-rounded game.
Huh.
Add more variety, more touch to her shots. Some people worry about the physical toll that her aggressive style takes, and they think she'll need to adapt if she wants to have a long career.
So are we talking about a complete transformation? Like going from power hitter to finesse player? It's hard to imagine Sabalenka completely abandoning the style that's brought her so much success.
I don't think it'll be a complete overhaul, but more like a refinement.
Mm-hmm.
Adding new tools to her already impressive skill set. She's proven she can adapt before. Remember how she improved her serve accuracy and started mixing up her shots back in 2018? I think we'll see a similar kind of evolution in the coming years. Maybe incorporating more spin, working on her net game, becoming more strategic with her shot selection.
So evolving, not abandoning.
Yeah.
Got it. She'll still be the powerhouse we know and love, but with some added layers of sophistication and strategy.
Exactly. And that's what makes her so captivating to watch. We're seeing a player who's already at the top of her game, but who's still growing, still pushing herself to new heights. And that's what makes her story so compelling. It's a story of growth, resilience, and this constant pursuit of excellence.
And speaking of compelling, we haven't even talked about her impact off the court. I mean, she's become a role model for so many young athletes and fans all over the world. They're drawn to her power, her authenticity, her never-give-up attitude.
Absolutely. Sabalenka's influence extends far beyond just the tennis court. She's become the symbol of perseverance, of defying the odds and embracing what makes you unique. She's shown the world that success isn't just about natural talent. It's about hard work, dedication, and unwavering belief in yourself.
Her story resonates with people because it's a human story. It's about overcoming obstacles, facing your fears, and chasing your dreams no matter what. And that's something we can all relate to.
And it's about embracing the whole journey, the highs and lows, the victories and setbacks. Sabalenka reminds us that it's not just about reaching the destination. It's about everything you learn and experience along the way.
So we've talked about her journey, her playing style, her mental toughness, her impact beyond tennis. What stands out to you the most about Sabalenka's story? What resonates with you on a personal level? And maybe even more importantly, what can we as listeners learn from her incredible journey? Let's take a moment to reflect on those questions as we head into the final part of our deep dive.
It's kind of wild to think that just a few years ago, she was this up-and-comer with a lot of potential, but also a ton of questions about her game.
And now, Grand Slam champ, a real force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, she's come a long way. It really shows you what hard work and dedication and self-belief can do. She never let those early criticisms define her. She just used them as fuel to get better, to refine her game, and to prove that her style could work at the highest level.
And that's a pretty powerful lesson for all of us, isn't it? I mean, it's easy to get discouraged when you face setbacks or criticism to start doubting yourself. But Sabalenka's journey reminds us that those challenges can actually be opportunities for growth. It's how you respond to them that really matters.
Oh, absolutely. It's about having the courage to stick to your guns, to embrace what you're good at, and to just keep pushing forward even when things get tough. Success isn't always a straight line. There are going to be ups and downs, moments of doubt, moments of triumph. It's how you navigate all of that that really defines resilience.
And there's something to be said for embracing what makes you unique, even if it goes against the norm. I mean, Sabalenka's style is so distinct, so explosive, and it definitely got its share of criticism early on. But she never tried to change who she was as a player. She owned her power, her aggression, and that authenticity became one of her biggest strengths.
Right. It's like a reminder that in a world that's always telling you to fit in, to conform, there's something really powerful about embracing what makes you stand out. Those unique qualities, the things that make you different, those can be your greatest assets. And when you have the courage to own those things, to really hone them and let them shine, you create a path that's truly your own.
We've talked a lot about Sabalenka's mental game and how she's managed to turn her intensity into a strength. I think there's a lot we can learn from that, especially for anyone who's interested in, the power of the mind.
Yeah.
What are some of the specific things she's done to achieve that level of control and focus?
Well, she's talked a lot about using visualization techniques. Before a match, she'll mentally go through different scenarios, picture herself hitting the perfect shots, staying calm under pressure. It's like creating this mental blueprint for success, training your mind to respond in a positive way, even in the most high-pressure situations.
So it's like she's programming herself for success, creating this mental space where she can thrive under pressure. And it's not just visualization, right? There's also this whole mindfulness aspect, being present in the moment and not getting bogged down by distractions or anxieties.
Exactly. Sabalenka uses meditation to cultivate that sense of presence, to quiet the mental noise and really zero in on the task at hand. It's about learning to let go of negative thoughts, not dwelling on past mistakes or worrying about the future, just staying grounded in the here and now.
Those are skills that can benefit anyone, really, whether you're an athlete or just navigating the everyday ups and downs of life. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose your thoughts, to shift your perspective, and to create a mental environment that supports you and your goals.
It's about becoming the architect of your own mind, cultivating resilience, focus, and belief in yourself.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of Aryna Sabalenka, I'm left feeling incredibly inspired. Here's a player who defied the odds, overcame so much adversity, and achieved greatness on her own terms. But even more importantly, she's shown us that success isn't just about luck or talent. It's about hard work, dedication, and unwavering belief in yourself. It's about embracing challenges, learning from setbacks, and never giving up on your dreams.
And she reminds us that even when things get really tough, even when it feels like the world is against you, you always have the power to choose how you respond, to stay true to yourself, and to keep moving forward with courage and determination.
Sabalenka's journey is a testament to the power of the human spirit, to the incredible potential that lies within each of us. And as we step off the court and back into our own lives, let's carry that inspiration with us. Let's remember that we all have the capacity for greatness, that we can overcome anything if we set our minds to it, and that the journey is just as important as the destination.
So as you go about your day, think about this. What challenges are you facing? What dreams are you chasing? And how can you apply what we've learned from Aryna Sabalenka's story to achieve your own version of success? Because what's so beautiful about her story is that it's not just about tennis, it's about the human spirit, the power of resilience, and the never-ending pursuit of excellence. And that's something that resonates with everyone no matter what your passion is.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. Thanks for joining us today.